One of the biggest ways the devil will beat you over the head is keep you broke. You know how to stay broke? Just don't tell your money what to do. Whatever you feel like doing, just do that, and you will be broke. If you want to not be broke, tell your money where to go. You know what that takes? A budget. Now, that's a big, scary word, right? That's a big, let me do this. We hadn't taught on money in a while. I haven't taught on budgets in forever. So, a budget. There's a nice divider here, so I'm going to go. All right. I know this is practical, and you didn't sign up for financial university. I get it, but like, what is income? That's money that comes in. It's pretty simple. This is your paycheck. This is your pension. This is your disability. This is your retirement. This is your W-2, your 1099, whatever you're doing to earn money. This is what that is. Expenses are what you have to give out, right? So this is your pay, your retirement, right? I don't even know what else I would say. Anyway, that's this, salary, right? We'd call it any number of things. And this is expenses, right? So this is all of your bills, right? So we got rent, mortgage, right? You got car, insurance, car note, hopefully not, but if you do, it is what it is. Phone bill, water, power, groceries. Boy, that's crazy now. Gas, right? Expenses. So, if I'm gonna write a budget, then I'm gonna have to put a number here. This is how much I make a month, okay? So this equals, let's say, if you make $15 an hour, that's $600 a week, so you're gonna gross $2,400 a month. Anyway, so we could just call that like $2,000 a month after taxes, okay? Then you settle down and you do all of your bills, right? So whatever this is, 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 whatever this is. You take this, right, and you subtract it from here. This number is the difference between having wealth and being a blessing and always being broke. If this number is 0 or negative, you will be broke forever. You will never get anywhere ever. I know nobody talks about this, but if this number is like $2, you will never get anywhere ever. Right? Now look, I'm not trying to, there is hope. The point is, there's always a way that you can manage your finances a little more better. Now notice what I didn't put over here. After all of this, I didn't put Longhorn, McDonald's, vaping, movies. So what do you do here? These things have to be negotiable. Now here's where modern society loses it. Modern society says all of this must constantly be improving because I get my worth from here. Right? So a principle of the kingdom is if I can sacrifice today for tomorrow, I will always win. Correct. The tithe's not on there. I don't consider that a bill. That's separate from the bill. Point being, if I am willing to sacrifice today for tomorrow, that's a spiritual principle that will always gain. So Proverbs speaks a ton about money. Jesus teaches a lot about money. Point being here, this car note right here keeps more people broke in America than almost anything. Because I can't wait to get the new thing, I'm going to take out a loan at 10% interest and pay on it for 7 years. The average car note is like 7 years now. Because I just can't wait. Well, I'm tired of driving this. I want to drive something nicer. As if people give a rip what you drive. Like, no, spoiler alert, nobody cares what you drive. You can just drive whatever you want to drive. It'll be fine. Save your money because this number right here is the only way you'll be a blessing to other people. Now, I only say that to say, again, if this number is lower than you think it should be, there's two things you can do. You can improve your income, right? Side jobs, side gigs, side hustles. Work harder at your job, take on multiple jobs. Think about how you can advance into other areas. Like there's a lot of things you can do to get this number up, to help this number. You can also limit this. But notice, if I'm going to buy groceries, you might grow up like you wanted the Lucky Charms, but you got like the clear plastic bag that was like, you know what I mean? And then you wanted Dr. Pepper, but you got Dr. Thunder. You know what I mean? Like, you can buy the store brand. It'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? You can also, look, it's cheaper to cook at home than it is to eat out. 100%. And it's cheaper to buy groceries than it is to grow them. Because holy cow, if you grow a garden, it's like, you can get a can of corn for like 20 cents. And if you come to the food bank, you get a can of corn for free. You go plant some corn, you're going to spend on fertilizer, you're going to spend on, anyway. The car, no. And then look. There's an old saying, I would rather have a cheap wallet full of money than an expensive wallet with no money, right? Don't go broke trying to look rich. Yeah, I don't think it's for anybody here, but somebody online may need it, whatever it is. Like, you don't need to put a $2,000 set of wheels on a $500 truck. Like, we call that a bad investment, right? So, cars are always depreciative assets, meaning they always lose money. They never, okay, if you have like a classic, whatever, it might go up a little bit. Even still, it's going to break. You're going to have to fix something. It's got a motor. It's a moving thing. You're going to have to fix it. Cars always go down. Never dump a bunch of money into things that depreciate. Guns is, it's kind of right there with it. Fishing poles, ATVs, campers, right? All of these things, when you drive them off the lot, you've lost a ton of value. And if you have taken out a loan for them, now you owe more than the car is worth. Now you're hung, right? Now you're stuck between, well, I can't sell it and pay off the note because it ain't worth what I bought when I had it 3 minutes ago. Like 3 minutes ago, it was worth $50,000. 3 minutes later, when I got dirt on the tires, it's worth $35,000. That's not a great investment. Bust out another $1,000. Yeah. Boats are notoriously bad investments. And again, look, I don't say any of this to condemn anybody or say anything. Here's what I like to remind people. Everybody looks towards the Good Samaritan as an example, right? Everybody believed the Good Samaritan was a good guy, right? Jesus tells us he's a good guy. Which one of these was a neighbor, right? The religious man passed by, didn't help the guy, right? So the guy's walking, gets beat up by thugs, he's left in a ditch. The Good Samaritan not only stops and notices the man, but the Good Samaritan has enough financial means to take the man to a hotel and takes him to the inn, tells the innkeeper, take care of this man. I'm going on my trip. When I come back, here's some money. If it's more than that, I'll pay you when I get back. So he had a good name in the community, right? That means he had good credit, right? The community believed, that innkeeper believed, this man means what he says. He's a man of his word, which is another boundary. Don't lie. Be a person of your word, right? Be an upstanding member of society that actually does what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Don't hide from your debts. And then have enough means that when you see somebody in need, you can say, I'll take care of all that. Right? I'll take care of all that stuff. Now, I will preface this with this. When Tiffany and I got married, this number was next to nothing. Right? We started with nothing. Literally. And the Lord has been faithful. We don't have a whole lot, but what we have brings us peace. Because we have ordered things in such a way, right? I can lose my job tomorrow and I'm not going to freak out. Right? Stuff can come up. Oh, the motor needs repaired. The transmission's going out, or I need new tires, or whatever it is, and it'll be okay, right? So there's peace there that comes from being diligent. Now, there was a time where there wasn't much, and we used that lack of peace to motivate us to get somewhere. Right? This is what I'm talking about with all of these examples. When you feel a lack of peace, that's God urging you into a new direction. Hey, it's not comfortable here. 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 And then when you get into peace, do everything you can to maintain that peace. And say, okay, I must be in a place of comfort with the Lord. And I'm not talking about false comfort like, oh, everything's fine. Like that part of you that won't go to bed at night because something's amiss, that's not peace. Right? If your bills are paid and you still can't go to sleep, you're not in peace. Right? If you have a good marriage but you still can't sleep, that's not peace. Right? I'm talking about peace that actually is like, right? That's God's way of nudging you into, because oftentimes as humans, as Jimmy, as me, God oftentimes has to make the pain of my current situation greater than the looking it in the mirror. Right? So the process of change is painful. Anything I'm asking you to do or anything I'm suggesting you to do is painful. And you will not do any of it until the pain of staying is more than the pain of changing. Right? When it gets painful to stay broke, you'll start taking care of your finances. Until then, you can just, that's all right, whatever. But when you're aspiring to go higher, right? Because what do we want to do? We want to be the kind of church that can bless people. Again, I'm not after your money. We don't need your money. I don't want you to take this the wrong way. Does anybody have any questions? Because this is kind of, there's a lot here, and I didn't do a very good job, and there's a lot more to do with. But the overarching thing, tell your money where to go. And then when you get to this, and you're like, hey, we want to have a date night. Let's put $100 in there for date night. Well, yeah, we got the money, and that'll just reduce this number a little bit, and we'll keep saving, and right? Good principles, good financial principles. You want to have a couple of months' worth of bills saved. So if something drastic happens, you can afford to keep living for a time as you adjust your situation, right? You want to pay off all debts as fast as possible. Smallest debt to biggest debt, right? Unless you just got some crazy medium-sized debt that's a high interest rate. But by and large, if you got a $100 debt over here, pay that off, and then take the money you were spending on that debt and pay off the $200 note. And then take the money you were spending on the $200 note and pay off the $400 note. Does that make sense?